It is Monday again, Thanksgiving week 2023. I love y'all so much. Very, very excited. Just had a wonderful time at church Sunday. Had a great message, and people received it really, really well. We are looking at the seven tests that everyone will take, and you'll take them multiple times in your life. We have looked at the fact that we all will take these tests, and they're a test of the heart. And then we looked at the test of insignificance, feeling like you don't matter, you weren't invited to the party, you were the last one picked for the team. And today we're looking at the opposite of that, the test of significance, the test where you finally once are recognized, you are given authority, given power. What do you do with that once you are recognized, once you do have power? Now, we're looking at the life of David, and David was despised by his brothers. When he comes to bring them food, and they're in this battle with Goliath, which was no battle, by the way, because they were all cowards, they say to him, "Why are you here? We know the naughtiness of your heart. You're here just to see this battle. Go home and tend those few sheep." You can just hear the disdain of his brothers for him. His mom didn't even invite him to be rejected by the prophet. His dad didn't invite him. And now the prophet has anointed him the most powerful man in the country, the new king, the next king of Israel. Now, you talk about opportunity for him to repay evil for evil. David could have been revengeful and made his family pay for all their willingness to see his potential because they put him down. He could have made his brothers his slaves. He could have taken his mom and home's property. He could have done anything as the new and anointed king of Israel. I know people like this. I've met people like this. One of the times I realized, as much as I love Jesus, I still have stuff in my heart that I have to be dealt with. I was pulled over by a policeman who just had an attitude that was, I mean, it reeked of arrogance. And it was, as I began to have this man, he just, nothing I could say. He was mean and mean spirited, and he was just all over me. No matter what I did, he was going to show me he had authority. And I wanted to get out and just thump him and cuff him to his own steering wheel and just say to that particular town, "Is this the best you could do for authority in your town?" But then I began to realize this is one of those individuals. He was way, way overweight, probably been made fun of most of his life. In school, he was that kid that got picked on. He probably was the last one to get picked for ball games and all these kind of things. But now he had a badge, and he was going to make everybody pay because now he could. He had the authority, he had the badge, he had the gun, he had the car with the lights, and he was going to let me know he was in charge. I've seen these people in different cities, in power places in the city, where they were over water, they were over you getting your license to build a house there, and now they're going to make you pay. And they hold all the cards, and they know it, and they want you to live by their rules, and they'll change the rules just so that you know they can do so. And that could have been David. He had the power now, but he didn't. He went back to tending the sheep. It's amazing to me when you look at the life of David. He was anointed the most powerful man in the country. He's going to be the next king. And he just goes back to doing what he was to do. The king was still alive, and so he knew that. And so instead of, doing what he could do and making people pay, he just went back to doing what God told him to do until the time was appointed for him to be put in that place of authority. Now, Authority, like money, does not change an individual. Money and authority, power given to an individual, only reveals what was in their heart the whole time. What's interesting about authority is that it doesn't make you a bad person or a good person. It just reveals what's actually in your heart. I know in my heart when I read the scriptures that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Bible says in Matthew 23, that they put heavy burdens on people, but wouldn't lift one finger themselves to help. But I think all of those people probably started out wanting to serve God. They had a love for God. They didn't become a carpenter or, a lawyer. They became a religious zealot. They became somebody that was after the heart of God. But they started getting recognized. Oh, you're so spiritual. You're so much better than us. And the Bible says Jesus told his disciples and those who were listening, do not be like the Pharisees who pray and they give money to be seen of men. Somewhere from a heart to serve God to where they became the Pharisees and the Sadducees that Jesus was continually rebuking, they begin to think they were all that. They begin to think, oh, yeah, I really am awesome. I really am something. Oh, yeah, you need to look at me. I got all my ducks in a row. Authority doesn't make that happen, it just reveals it and gives it opportunity. And so, one of the things I do and I continue to do and I want to do because I want to keep my heart right is to make sure that there is nothing that I have asked others to do that I myself am not willing to do. Now, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because I don't really know who it was anyway, but I came in and the toilet was nasty, shall I say. And I think somebody tried to flush it, but it wouldn't go down. It was so packed. And they just left it, and the bathroom was stinking. And I think I get it. When I looked around, there was no plunger. I had to go look for a plunger. It took me 5 or 10 minutes to find a plunger. But I made sure to clean that commode to make sure it was flushing again, and then to clean it up because stuff got everywhere. And I do that just to make sure that I'm not too big for my britches. If I see somebody carrying boxes from their car, I go ask, do you need help? I want to make sure that I never get too big for my britches, that I never get this idea, oh, that's beneath me. And that is one of those things that I think God is encouraging all of us to keep our hearts right with. Are you willing? Maybe you're too busy to do those things, but are you willing? I think if you're that busy, you're probably too busy to start out with, but you have to be willing to continue to be a servant to others. That when you're given authority, you understand the authority was given you for building people up, not tearing people down, not throwing out and doing what we call dirty delegation, where you just give away all the nasty things of your job, but you keep all the fun things of your job. That's called dirty delegation. That you're willing to do and you're able to do and continue to do what you're asking others to do. It's interesting. There's a story in 1 Corinthians 12, I think, about a king who was only king for a day, and his he had this opportunity to be king. They were going to anoint him king, and he asked the elders of the previous king, "What should I do?" And they said, "Listen, your dad was hard. He was gave us heavy burdens. If you'll just lighten those, the people will love you and they will serve you, and you will be a great king." But he had friends who were his age. He was just a teenager, and he rejected the advice of the elders. And his friends who were younger said to him, "You know, your dad put heavy burdens on them. You put even heavier burdens on them. You let them know your dad was bad to the bone, but you're even harder." And he took their advice and he said to the people, "My dad whipped you with a whip, but I'm going to whip you with a scourge." And what he said is, I'm going to be even meaner to you. I'm going to be even harder on you. And the people wouldn't let him be king. And so he lost the opportunity to serve and be an authority because he didn't listen to good advice. He didn't understand authority was given him to serve the people of his kingdom. And so there's the test of insignificance where nobody even looks your direction. And then there's the opposite of that where everybody begins to tell you, you're awesome, you're great. What do you do with that? You take a look at all the people in entertainment today, and so many of them have begun to believe their own press report. They've begun to believe what everybody says about them. They really are that great. They really are that good. They're incredible. They can do no wrong. And suddenly, they are full of themselves. They are arrogant. They think that the sun rises and sits in their back pocket. And it's hard to watch that kind of arrogance and self-absorption. So what do you do when you're finally given authority? I've seen it here where we had people who, when they were volunteering, were just great people. They loved and they served, and people loved them. But as soon as we gave them a paycheck, they begin to change. And now they think it's all about them and the title on the door and people doing what they say. They wanted to do that all the time, but they didn't have the authority to do it. And once they were given that authority, their heart was revealed. And unfortunately, many of those people we've had to let go because it was about them and not about the kingdom. It was about their kingdom and them being all that and everybody looking up to them and, oh my goodness, you're so great and you're so awesome. And some of them really were awesome individuals, but they forgot they were servants of the people. They forgot they were to love people and serve people and bring out the best in people. So today's question is, what are you going to do once you are recognized? Now, maybe you've seen a little change in your own heart and you realize, wow, I have taken a little bit of that praise and that, wow, I really am all that. And I've begun to think that I can't do those menial tasks anymore. Great. At least you recognize it. Now you have opportunity to go back and change and be the servant God intended for you to be. The Lord will take you as high as your humility will grant you. And so, if you want to be great in the kingdom according to the scriptures, you have to be servant of all. You have to be willing that once you are recognized, you don't forget you're still a servant of the Most High King. I love you all so much. I want to say hi to a few people. If you think this would help somebody you're connected to, if you think this would be an encouragement to someone, would you share? Would you give me a thumbs up? Would you let others know so that together you and I can change thousands of lives? I'm going to say hi to a few folks. Uh-oh, I almost messed up. Maybe I did mess up. I don't know. Still going. Okay, here I can say hi to a few folks. Tammy, bless you. Mary Lou, Jimmy, Jim, bless you all so much. Love you guys. It's giving me fits. Gary, bless you, my friend. Irish, bless y'all. I hope everything went well with the Irish. I didn't get a feedback. Please let me know how things went with your surgery. Love you guys so much. Look forward to seeing you next week.